grab your favorite beverage, kick up your feet as you ascend with me into the joy portal of soul reflections, fresh perspectives, fun ideas, and wisdom. Light to light and heart to heart. Smile and breathe even deeper as together we will soar above the perception of all hurdles and shine brightly as the light we are. Hello, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Jerry Hapstreet, my co-host, Patty Peterson. We are both Vesa medical intuitives and quantum healers, and glad to be with you all here today before we take off, many taking off on their holiday vacations for Thanksgiving. And so I think our topic is probably good for this time, and it's about gut health, which is a huge thing right now for so many people for so many reasons. And so we're going to be talking about that. Just a reminder, you can jump into the chat and say hi. The chat is open. And if you would like to call in and have a question to ask, you can do that as well. I'll put the call-in number up. There it is, 517-208-1500. And I just want to welcome everyone, if you're listening via podcast. Hello, welcome. If you are on Oneness Talk Radio, Facebook, or YouTube, hello, we are so glad you are here. So, gut health or happy, healthy tummy, however you want to choose. I have noticed, or I have seen, as I lift higher and accept higher frequency energies into my body, the things that I can eat are changing, and how my digestive system is working seems to be changing. I am needing to go lighter in every single way and in everything I do. And so it gets to be a challenge of, what can I eat? What can I eat? What's digesting? What isn't? And I'm finding, especially in the world of ascension or people who are wanting to carry more light and hold a greater consciousness, that gut health seems to be a huge topic right now. And so hopefully we're going to explore some of the things that can help you if you are in that situation as well. So, Patty?
Yes. Great intro there, Jerry. I too, having been somebody that has had different challenges in my digestion and intestinal health, have researched and pursued gaining greater knowledge along with in my healing career. And I have to say, it's quite natural that we all get some imbalances just periodically. I think everybody does. And then yet overall, I'm seeing digestive issues across the board, everybody. And then you add in what Jerry talked about, the ascension energies. So what there's many reasons, and we're going to talk about that, what's contributing and what we can do to help. And as medical intuitives, what Jerry and I, what we're practicing as in serving in clients, is we have different energy bodies. The outermost energy body is our spiritual energy body. And that's a lot of what Jerry's talking about. We get that we're more than a physical body. Then we have the mental body with all these beliefs, and in that stomach area can be so much, I'm not good enough, it's not safe to be seen. Then there's the emotional body, carrying emotions, and how often do we swallow things and stuff them and not address them? And then the physical. And so we work with people to help on all those levels to hopefully then lift through any dis-ease imbalance more thoroughly and quickly, right, Jer? Whenever either of us gets a symptom, right away we're looking at on all those levels, and they overlap and they affect each other. And so that's one thing, one way we're going to look at this. And the other is then through the chakra system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe we should just start, let's start with the emotional level. Let's start in how our emotional level affects our digestive system and our ability to break down food so we have a happier tummy, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The emotions are very tied and can even be right in the cells. So, many of us have done cleanses. And as we do a physical cleanse, these old emotions will come up.
Mm-hmm.
And, there may be for certain organs, there tends to be certain emotions. And some of that is based in Chinese medicine and things. And yet, I believe there can be any. Like the stomach meridian, common emotional blockages are disgust, greed, shame, and blame. Who hasn't danced with some of those?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, Jerry, you can share there any ways that you've helped to work with this.
Right. Well, I'll share, we are constantly saying yes, if we are to up levels, which I constantly am, you're being asked to lighten ever more and look at more. So things that weren't issues maybe before you were just fine with, as you continue to expand, they pop up then, and now you have to look at them. So for me, as I headed into the summer, I got to a point where I literally couldn't eat anything. I did a master cleanse for about 2 months. And at the same time, I was being shown a clock with time. Both hands of the clock, when they hit 12, there was like an explosion. And so I went on to feel within me time and everything around time. So that would be, did I do enough in this time that I've been given? Did time that I lost with kids because I had to leave them. And I think everyone goes through that, even if you got to stay with your children. When they take off and go to college or leave the house and you're empty nested, are you able to let go of the past? Because the past is all a belief in time. And so all of that, those energies that have to do with time, and if you really start looking at yourself, it's pretty much anything that you've held on to in the past, because the past is a belief in time, right?
Right.
And so all of that is held right in the sacral, which very much affects the digestive system, which is right above
That's
that.
elimination. Absolutely.
Sure. And as soon as those energies, right, and those are all in the area of the organs of elimination, which are eliminating emotions from the past that do not serve, so you can move and flow through the changes of life. Or if you're holding on to those emotions, you're holding on to the past, you're holding on to, you might have a hard time eliminating, right?
Very much so. The metaphysical for any constipation is difficulty letting go. Yes, we're hanging on and attached even to, past identities, which is old the ways we saw ourselves. And so then perhaps we get this up level energy, this beautiful full moon eclipse. And then all of a sudden more light's being shown on an area of ourselves. Then those things may come up. And how many of us can say, oh, I thought I healed that. And we go, oh, here's another layer I get to look at.
Yeah, the universe is so lovely. Each of these full moons, especially at revealing another layer. And it's amazing how many layers there are.
Right.
They keep coming.
Yeah. And I have a lot of clients who don't really feel safe with their emotions, depending on how we grew up, right? They were stuffed. They were not safe to show. Especially, I see a big pattern here in children that grew up in alcoholic homes. And so there's different practices that can help us to find a safe way to be with those emotions. Some people say, I don't dare vent my anger because I'm afraid I'll keep swimming in it, that it will never stop. And so to believe in, that support. And we've done in some of these shows, at the end of our session, we've done like the inner child practice. There's some of those where we can just safely be with those old emotions from the past and send the love of the now and the higher self to that. And they just dissolve. And sometimes all it takes is an awareness of an event, or right here.
Right. Or cocooning yourself into a spot where you feel safe.
Yes.
Go in your closet if you have to, and curl up in a corner if your closet's big enough, and make that safe spot where you can do that.
Absolutely. To offer, and that safety, when you said that, I thought right away of the third chakra. And, right here, that's our solar plexus, so rich in digestion, with the stomach, the gallbladder, the liver, the pancreatic enzymes, into the small intestine where we absorb all our nutrition. And it's a lot about that sense of safety, of being able to express and be seen in the world too. The overall spiritual outer level of energy, that chakra is all about trust. Do we trust our abilities? Do we trust the divine flowing through us? Do we trust the choices we make? And then that sense of safety. So you can see how all of these can overlay, right? That child that does, we have these stuffed emotions. And then on top of that, I don't even feel safe to be with that, or to be who I am. So it's an evolving, and it's amazing, some of these spiritual practices, right? How much you can address in all levels with them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then more too, as well. I mean, so I talked a little bit about the emotional energy around the sacral, and when that energy frees up, that energy comes up to the digestive area. So there's more energy available for the digestion process. So as you heal that past stuff, it frees the energy up into the empowerment area, the digestion area, the area where you expressed your creative gifts and your trusts. And so you have more energy available there for the process of digestion. And so the digestive area is just what we said, the area, trust is a big one for that area. And it's also about knowing your creative gifts and going out into the world and expressing them and sharing them. And when you do that, there's an empowerment that happens. I mean, don't you feel that? I mean, there's times where I forget. And when I get out and do a workshop in front of people and I'm in my element, I leave and feel so empowered. And that's the energy of that chakra. We were meant to not hold our creative gifts inside to ourselves. We're meant to share them with the world.
Right. Exactly. The second and third work very much there, of having that vision and using that creativity. And that third about, claiming all your gifts, skills, and talents. How often do we play small, and the more we can start to connect with our goodness, that's a beautiful practice, to look back and start connecting with our goodness, to free up and bring more of that energy in there, which isn't commonly done, right?
And I'm thinking about our college students, our high school students, as they go out into the world, into college. There's such a push around picking a career that will make a lot of money, or a lot of fame, or a lot of power, as opposed to what are your creative gifts, and how can you take those creative gifts and put them into the world? Forget about how much money it's going to make you. Forget about it. Because you can go do something that'll make a lot of money, but you might be the one that has to have Tums, daily, because your creative gifts aren't being expressed and you're just not happy with where you're at. Right. And then you'll have digestive issues.
Exactly.
Because you're having a hard time digesting and breaking down internally a job that you don't love, and you're doing it 40 hours a week.
Yes. And it's also this area and the chakras and its energy is, how are we nourishing and nurturing ourselves? So here is even, on all those levels, spiritual, mental, emotional. And what does that mean? And so, yes, it is on that physical, and we're going to talk about the physical for practical things here for people to understand. And yet, what is nurturing and nourishing beyond the physical, right? Taking that in, and it's digesting life and absorbing, because we can take things in, and even food, but we're not always absorbing and assimilating. Assimilating is, am I breaking this down, claiming the gifts, getting all that out of it, and taking it into every area of this beautiful vessel that is holding your spirit. And here's where then sometimes when we do some of these practices, or like the inner child or any just meditation, mindfulness, connecting, we may start to find some of those unconscious beliefs that we took on. I've heard it quoted that 95% of the beliefs that we carry we're not conscious of. And those are what are operating, that's what's contributing to this, oh, I'm not safe to express in the world, or, or what did we take on from our family that I can't pursue being this creative, artsy person if I come from a family of lawyers.
Right. Right. Yeah. As you're talking about the taking in and absorbing and assimilating. So if you look at our world, it is so fast paced. And just now too, since we're in a new concentric time or spiral time, things are going faster, especially if you're going against time. Now, if you can stand in the center and be with it, you have a different experience, but not everyone can do that. So then it comes to the taking and being present. Are you present with your food as you're nourishing yourself? Are you eating on the run? Are you eating in your car? I mean, those are all, you're setting yourself up right there to not be able to break that food down.
Right. Exactly, Jerry.
You're not even present with your meal. So how can
No, we're doing 5 things and then the foods. And that reminds me of the quote that we both heard recently. Archangel Zadkiel says, the body seeks stillness in a fast-paced world. Eating fast deprograms your bliss.
Yeah.
Yes, it deprograms our joy, our bliss by eating fast. And so as I've paid more attention to my body and deprogramming some of my old habits, I was a mother of 6 children, and, as you're feeding and sharing and gobbling down, and now and recognizing I wasn't breaking things down, to take that time. And science can show, right, how much when we bless and love what we're ingesting, it changes its molecular structure to be absorbed.
Well, there's 2 steps right there for to beginning to be able to digest your food better.
Yes.
One is to sit with it and offer it a blessing.
Present.
So whatever frequency, now if you're cooking it, you probably are aware of the frequency that went into it. But if you're at a restaurant or something somewhere else, you don't know. If the chefs are in a hurry, how it got thrown together.
Yes.
Yep. You have no idea. So you offer it a high frequency energy of love. It doesn't have to take long. It's the intention and your energy that counts. Now it's going to be assimilated easier. And then if you're taking time with your food to be present with it while you're eating, and I even have to pay attention to this because I can get in the habit of quick eat and go.
Absolutely.
And I'm at a point where I can't do that. I need to assimilate everything.
Yes. We'll notice we can get, bloaty or uncomfortable the more we pay attention. And that ties into, on the physical level, in today's world, studies have shown that when we're breathing in so many of the eating in genetically modified, breathing in chemtrails and exposed to all of these toxins, that's affecting the enzymes in our stomach. And especially as we get older and the more stressed we are, those enzymes are depleted. And truthfully, our digestion starts right here, way up in the 5th chakra, right? Chew, 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 another Zadkiel. Chew, thank you, I love you, chew, thank you. Practicing that, it's a beautiful one. And so we have to chew to liquid so the stomach absorbs it. How often do we? And gulp. And then the stomach gets this big, hard clump to try to deal with. And it's got depleted enzymes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking of the same thing, and I'm thinking of our soil, with all the minerals and nutrients that aren't there, that used to be there, that used to, offer us some digestive aids. And we
the
don't
very
have
good
that.
bacteria too, and eating food straight from the garden. Some of the work by Dr. Zach Bush, look his stuff up if you feel called to it, recommending eating straight dirty from the garden, still, all connected to get our good flora, probiotic, prebiotics.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the more we get things that have shipped and sat, they're more depleted, and our soils have become overutilized and less helpful. That all impacts our health.
Yeah. So I'm finding, well, and I'm still learning as I go, but lots of fermented things are great
Yes.
for the stomach.
Yeah.
So kombucha, wonderful. And it can be expensive if you want to live off of it, which I do. And it's so easy and so much fun to make your own. It's a simple process and you can flavor it all kinds of different ways. So that's a huge recommendation. And eating any kind of fermented foods. I'm finding that I'm even needing a probiotic every day now, where I never used to need one before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the big one is eliminating sugars and packaged foods. All of those packaged foods and, chips.
And canned.
Yes. And canned.
Both.
Not alive. Right. And a lot of them, not only, some of the chips and all that are genetically modified sources, but they turn into sugar. So if we're having an abundance of that, sugar is hard on that microbiome. The lining of our intestine, the small intestine, has a layer that does so much more than I even know. But what I do know is it's a high percentage of our immune system. I've seen quotes from 65% or more that if it's healthy. And so many of us have what are called like leaky gut, that lining of that intestine got too porous. And now how's that? We're reabsorbing a lot of those toxins and things. So anyway, in that lining, when it's healthy, like Jerry mentioned, the good probiotics, eating the fermented foods, not having a lot of packaged or sugar, that can heal up, and the prebiotics. And it's also not only our immune system, but happy chemicals, serotonin in the brain, and so much. Recently I was going through something and I was out of balance in my intestines, and I did get sick easier. And I knew it right away when I got sick. I went, wow, well, that main source of protection has been out of balance. And then there was lessons on, and gifts on all layers that we've talked about. But I just wanted to reiterate that, like you were saying about what we're eating.
Yeah. Wow, time's gone really fast now that we're down to a half an hour. So let's maybe go over some more good things for the stomach besides fermented and the probiotics. And eating, no dairy, of course, is really
the inflammatory foods, that's becoming more common, right? Mm-hmm. Anti-inflammatory diets for that lining of the gut or joints or anything, right? Mm-hmm. The cow's milk, dairy, no. So much of that is energy not very good in the way we process. And then the cows are eating genetically modified foods. So that's a big one. Yes, Jerry.
Yeah. Well, and then you're drinking fear. So that fear right in the stomach.
Exactly.
And another thing that I have found to be helpful, and I was clearly guided to do too, was have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a little bit of water a couple of times a day, because that helps to keep the body alkaline, which also makes it's good for the stomach as well.
Yes, and umi plum, there's a vinegar and all that, but I got it in a concentrate. This was shared by another beautiful healer when I was going through my intestinal imbalance. And that too, it comes in a little UME plum, and a little of that with hot water is so soothing. It too has that high pH to soothe the intestines. So I did this every morning as I was healing, and I loved it. It's like my body craved it. And, we bring up a good point there. What are we really drawn to? And from that inner knowing versus what does the ego want to just eat to deal with an emotion, or I don't want to feel this belief. I feel alone and sad, so I'm going to eat all the sugar. The more clear we become in our body's messages. And when I was healing, I got so clear that I needed more good fats, the avocados, the olives, the coconut oil, MCT oil, and healthy vegan sources of protein. And that's been really helping me too. And then other inflammatory foods, top 3 are, like Jerry mentioned, the dairy, wheat, and corn.
Yeah. So, yep, I've eliminated those, and I have to keep eliminating. I'm finding the beans are even a challenge, like the chickpeas and the lentils lately. So sprouted foods is another thing.
Soak and sprout them. The body will take in their nourishment much more easily.
And one thing that I've found that is really nice that I have a pretty good time with is buckwheat. And now buckwheat sounds like it's a wheat, but it's not. It's a seed, but it is very gentle on the digestive system. And if you grind your own in like a coffee grinder, that's what I do. You can make some best pancakes I've ever made before our friend.
Yes, I have too. Okay. Oh, yeah.
And I put some apple cider vinegar in them too, so you get a little bit of both there.
I like that. And millet. My dear friend uses quite a bit of millet. I haven't as much, but she says that's much more. And looking, for the keeping away from packaged, sugary, inflammatory, and eating more live, the more live fruits, vegetables. If you have a challenged gut, you might need to just steam them. Softer and steaming vegetables might be, because sometimes too much raw I found was challenging, especially if you're going through something. And so the steamed vegetables, and in, soups,
blended soups with all the vegetables. Yeah.
Easily absorbable when they're not, already half broken down.
Yeah. I've found, let me take a peek at the call line. Oh, there's somebody here on the call line. Let's see. Hello, is there someone here? Hello, is someone calling in from California? Okay, maybe not.
Line muted.
Okay. Well, there's someone sitting on the call line, but they're not answering. So
maybe that's their way of listening in. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Every now and then we get a straggler kind of that just shows up on there somehow. I'm not sure, but maybe that must be the deal.
Yeah.
But one thing you can do is if your intention is truly on healing an aspect of your body, whatever it is, and if you set it loud and clear, usually you'll start getting reflections from the outer world. People will send you an email, say, hey, check this out. Hey, I can remember when I was going through an inflammation thing and I didn't know that was my problem, but my intention was clear that something was wrong and I needed to figure out what it was. A friend of mine out of the blue, who's a man, by the way, sends me this random recipe for inflammation muffins. I didn't even know he cooked. And I'm like, why am I? And it was turmeric and cinnamon and black, all these things for inflammation in the muffins. And then I started getting all these signs and I was guided to the apple cider vinegar. And it was like, okay, so there is help too. Your personalized team of guides and angels and your higher self is there if you set your intention to guide you to what's best for you as well.
Right. Less from the fear and trusting that things will be revealed. Yeah, that's beautiful. I wrote down another Archangel Zadkiel quote that I've loved and I've shared in some of the classes that I've had with clients. And Zadkiel says, do you eat fear or do you eat light? Do you eat love or do you eat death? Do you drink water that is pure crystalline, or do you drink bubbles that I can see.
Just disrupt your tummy.
Choices, beloved ones, choices. Yes. So, the type of water we drink, tap water has, most cases, municipal tap water has chlorine. What does chlorine do? It kills bugs. Well, do we want it killing the good bacteria? Our microbiome, our gut has to have a healthy balance of that healthy bacteria. And things like chlorine and water also disrupt that. So get a good filter. And bless your water. And that is wise too. We need a lot of water to keep flushing out all the toxins in today's world.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I think we are like really close to time. But before we say goodbye, Gary has just written in and he's got, please send your love and light to Earl Bounds in the hospital. He just had a heart attack, and this is his son-in-law. So maybe if we all put our hands on our hearts and just send a conscious breath and just see Earl Bounds with gold around him or light around him in any way.
Angels of healing light, highest be served.
May the highest love and light be sent to Earl Bounds, to where he resides now, into the room around him, and all those people that are taking care of him. And may the highest and only the highest be served. And let this be so.
And it is so.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for joining us.